And when we return to Kwahu, they will invite those 5 people that they helped or assisted to come and testify. So if this continues for the next 5 years, each bank picking minimum 5 people, 5 enterprises to support, the following year doing the same, I'm sure by the end of his 4-year tenure, we'll have over 600 enterprises that we can pinpoint and say that these are things that President Mahama started. And so basically this is about it. It's going to be an annual event. Even though the name is titled Kwahu Business Forum, I think going into the future, it could be national in character, whereby business people will travel from all over the country to converge at Kwahu and to have interaction with bankers and public institutions. So, for example, it should be possible that somewhere along the line next year, they could have maybe the Commissioner General of GRA trying to explain to businesses the advantages they can have and things like that. So basically it will just be around how to grow businesses under President Mahama's watch. And I think it's something that is welcoming, and I support it because without the private sector growing, not much will happen. Apart from creating jobs, people making money, our system itself, I think, will flourish. And then automatically to feed into his agenda of, leading the export drive in the West African sub-region. So that when he starts, let's say, towards the end of the year, President Mahama could organize Ghana's international trade fair in, say, Burkina Faso, in Niger, in Mali, and he will take along some of the Ghanaian entrepreneurs to go and showcase their products so that they can import from us.
$11 million was paid for Bawku Dam when there was no even sand at the site. Mr. Speaker, I heard the former finance minister saying that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is terminating, and that he's a Terminator 1. Don't worry, you've not seen anything yet. Mr. Speaker, the Bawku Dam, those who chop that money will be terminated. Mr. Speaker, you see the agenda 111, $400 million. You will account for it. If you don't, termination. Mr. Speaker, you see the most expensive hole that is dug in Accra. Mr. Speaker, you see the cathedral, the most expensive hole in the whole of West Africa. Mr. Speaker, do you know one of the most shameful aspects of that hole? They went to Israel to go and import stone, a huge gravel stone. They carried it, paid money for it, to come and put, are you building voodoo house? Mr. Speaker, that is more than $50 million. Wallahi, termination. We would terminate you if you don't pay that money. Now let me advise you. Those of you who stole money, oral chairman is here, and I am so happy.
The fact is, NDC has to be dissolved. You have to be dissolved. It's not about numbers. You have to be dissolved because we are talking about quality numbers. See, our numbers are small, but quality, minority. Mr. Speaker, for this, I respect the arm say it, but I'll tell them out today.
There's something we are going to do, and that is where I need your support. As for me, I don't like reporting too many things to the police. I don't want a situation whereby we'll put in place a police team, we'll go arrest people, and then they go to the police station, they find their own means, and they are back on the street. That would be a waste of time and resources for me. So I have my own democratic military style, which I'll be implementing. When we say leave this space, and you don't leave this space, and I get there, I am not lucky, and my boys are with me, there and then, we'll beat you. There, in the middle of a doom. If you're not lucky, if I'm alone, you'll be lucky. But if I'm there, and my 10 boys are in their pickup with me, with their hips, trust me.
$11 million.
There's something we are going to do, and that is where I need your support. As for me, I don't like reporting too many things to the police. I don't want a situation whereby we'll put in place a police team, we'll go arrest people, and then they go to the police station and they find their own means and they are back on the street. That would be a waste of time and resources for me. So I have my own democratic military style, which I'll be implementing. When we say leave this space, and you don't leave this space, and I get there, I am not lucky, and my boys are with me, there and then we'll beat you. There, in the middle of a doom. If you're not lucky, if I'm alone, you'll be lucky. But if I'm there, and my 10 boys are in their pickup with me, with their hips, trust me, we'll
me show boy in the sun, I'm de mujashi actually free distance na me dream me kasa o mbe so mu fa me nko madam se madam me huna de madam say me huna de na me say yes am be black wo
afra uhuna chiri ana uhuna ketu bia na say
huna she
is we dey na uhuna de
issues relating to recruitment into the Ghana Police Service. I gave assurance to the Bawku and his people that we have a timid youth of people. Some are always carrying arms. I want them to put down their arms. They should lay down their weapons and have the opportunity to get themselves also recruited into the service. Many of the times we have recruitment centralized at the national headquarters, and we are not able to get the full benefit of regional balance of people being recruited. Having seen this team youth, and I've seen that there is that desire to get job done. I'm giving them the assurance that they should put down their arms. We have a lot of people in the police service now who came from this area, and we have realized that they've helped a lot in the discharge of their duties as police officers. There are some of them who have retired, and then we have some of them who are also actively in the police. And I gave an example of somebody like a policewoman. Before recruitment, she rode motorbike from Bawku to Accra when we were looking for riders. And the moment this lady approached the recruitment center with a motorbike coming from Bawku, she was taken because there was no need to check whether she was capable to be recruited or not to be recruited. What we want from these people, as I've given them the assurance, is that we are not going to relax on the requirement, the basic requirement for recruitment. They will still have to get the basic requirement that will be stipulated when it comes to the process of recruitment, and we will take them. When they qualify, they go through the recruitment process, they qualify by age, by certificate, and then they go through the recruitment process. We will be able to receive them. The assurance I'm giving to them is that they should put down their weapons. We'll be here for a period of 3 days and 3 nights. We want to monitor whether through this period we will not be hearing any gunfire. If there's no gunfire, it means that they have listened for our request, and then it gives them the opportunity to get more investors coming to their area. Because when people even want to come to Bawku, they come to the police, and they wanted to assess the security situation. With the good meeting that we had with the Bawku and the chiefs and the people and the youth of Bawku, we gave them the assurance that if they are able to put down the weapons, then when somebody comes, any NGO, anybody from the embassies, and they want to visit Bawku to see the development in this area, we'll be ready to let them know that for now, there's no problem in Bawku.
The complementary roles of individuals, organizations, and the government in national security is of critical importance. I urge our citizens in discharging this complementary duty of helping to safeguard our security not to behave like the shepherd boy in the famous fable who cried, "Wolf, wolf," when there was no wolf. If we behave like that boy, either for partisan or parochial interest, we distract the attention of our security services from focusing on their critical job of keeping us safe. Let us support our security services and the Ghana Armed Forces with information that is useful and intelligence that is helpful, that will advance their work rather than retrogress it. Let me reiterate that we will take all allegations of crime seriously and trigger our security service investigative machinery to go after criminals no matter who they are. But let me state emphatically also that we do not have the resources and time to engage in any game of smoke and mirrors. The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Bawku area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfor mediation process, which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week when he returns from his brief visits abroad. Congratulations to our armed forces for the sacrifices you have made, even at the peril of your lives, to protect life and property in the Bawku conflict area.
Honorable members, some of you just are a few days old in Parliament. It doesn't matter. I'm looking at you. Repeat what you said. Please. If I were such a biased person, I couldn't have wanted to be a speaker in opposition. Please. I'm begging before you came into this house. Your minority leader spoke. I've given him enough time to speak, and he's still speaking. He knows how close he is to me. And he knows that I will not ignore the issue I took upon myself. And he has mentioned that I have invited the lady concerned. It's not that I will not invite him. It's a process. And he knows what has intervened up to now. If not by this, I would have finished doing that.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, Oh, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now. Borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana. Today is the 15th of April 2025. This is the day the Lord has made. We're grateful we're still alive and kicking. And we're back again to join the nation's conversation, what's happening in our dear country, Ghana. My name is Awudu Moro, and once again, it's a pleasure joining us. I'll go straight ahead and look at the front pages of the newspapers. And as always, I'll start with the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic this morning reports that scholarship scheme overhauled. New bill to go before Parliament soon. Chief of Staff leads second Kwahu Business Forum, event to boost entrepreneurship. Amenfiman Rural Bank votes 35 million cedis to support Idum fire victims. And as GWL announces Wager Dam spillage to avoid collapse. The Ghanaian Times. President Mahama addresses Kwahu Business Forum April 19. Leveraging AI to protect lives, building resilience for future pandemics. Auditors must exercise a high professional standard to protect public purse, Professor Amate. Close down witch camps, they are symbols of societal neglect, AI. The Daily Guide. Gold Board takes full control of gold. Turkish investors' property demolition. Zoom Lion Balls snubs police, victims arrested. Group calls for end to Kwahu chieftaincy dispute. High Court denies Ahmed Swale killer bail. 20 pupils hospitalized after consuming asana. The Crusading Guide. Gold Board takes over ASM gold business. A sole buyer, assayer, and exporter of gold. Previous NDC government contributed half of current total debt stock, APL tells Mahama. Agbazu residents lament persistent attacks by national security operative. Togbega Gadagbe, Heletabo the Fourth, outdoor, that's paramount chief of Agape. Kwahu Forum for Truth fights traitors and saboteurs. Galamsey deporting, banning rule of law. Very interesting article. I think I looked at it yesterday. Achimtafo launches 40th anniversary to celebrate Dasibre Eduse Piase the Fourth. The Insight. Gold Board now sole buyer, seller, and exporter of all gold in Ghana. Towards effective management of public housing and state assets, Financial Consultants proposes measures for sustainable national asset management. NPP Guru rejects Bamia for 2028, says grassroots unhappy with 2024 choice of flag bearer. SNIT enhances pension scheme with 12% indexation to boost tech drive service delivery. Now, nominate Crowell MCE from Amenfi quarters. Nungwa youth appeal to President Mahama. Embattled Kwabene Duboahene has no blood relation with MPP's late Professor Albert Duboahene. Lawyers for Nanedro Frichi, Agona family set record straight. The Custodian. Kusau residents chase out IGP. Minority task Mahama to end Bawku conflict. Cleaning Ghana, creating jobs. The Zoom Lion story. Daily Post. All gold trading licenses no longer valid. Gold Board. 453 trainees pass out as blue water guards. NPP's Lorato begs NDC MP for making false cocaine allegation against him after the MP sues her for 10 million cedis. Metro Lens. No arrears. NHIA pays 834 million cedis outstanding claims to providers. Stop Kwahu customary coup d'etat, Kwahu Forum for Truth charges. Kwahu Easter Festival, Eastern South Police increase road checks to cut accidents and robberies. Buy gold at Bank of Ghana rates. Gold Board directs all gold dealers. The Daily Searchlight. All gold dealing licenses cancelled by Gold Board, but large-scale mining companies exempted. Zoom Lion sanitation contract under attack. 20-member planning committee inaugurated for UPSA at UPSA University of Professional Studies at 60 celebrations. youth-led campaign empowers over 500 students in Eastern Region with hope and tools for the future. Achim Tafo launches 2025 Ahomkam Festival. And the Business and Financial Times. Share prices of dominant stocks rally GSE in Q1. Iron ore exploration gains momentum in OT region. Star Assurance celebrates 40 years of remarkable growth with Thanksgiving service. Leroy Group ready to power 24-hour economy push. Prudential Bank affirms commitment to cross-border payments. And Dr. Samia Niama appointed Executive Director of African Institute of Energy and Sustainability. So these are the stories on the front page of the newspapers. When we come back, I'll be introducing my resource persons for the show. Please stay with us.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matassa.
That's a cycle.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me, Jidi said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
What name Jom Kasan Kasan Kasan? You know what I'm saying? Cal 360 did the way. Its cool mint gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Look around.
Home also need a makeover.
Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Matching furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
A table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana funi aji if you say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me de gumi jollof mu ni mi still ahoduma e ma ne dance
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
see natural sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen
Adofo mamu huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDA ejodi nkratu yatu
Choose energy drink.
Ama, nansi mi jeno wo bin enko ye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basi makura. Ama me kunu me into kwankwa. Oh you why? Any mo go. Give us GC lecture and any capsules. Aye num boom and wasam na mo kana. E bua emma ene meme nyina. Na ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya, we be Bawku. I'm a neck giant sour, the shelly bottom. No, when you need to say, you owe you chop one.
Give us heba, give us heba, give us heba,
give us BC mixture and then a capsule. Achesa.
A pin for a batter, one more menu for one and for that when you feel you can be a
Hello, my friends. My name is Kelkit's Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits, happy smile.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana fueni aje efise ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
Me de gumi jollof mu me misti wa hodoma emane dance
Stanley, the barbecue the go on.
Sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural. Said the happen.
Adofo, mamu nye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. The
FDA ejodi nkratu yatu.
Aha. Hey, pay right for who drilling.
Hey, a Japan reject for Abama and show some dewa. Pay reject a darumanti, if you be a monyan shoe, and to saw young crankre, a jumaku, in swan sorry, Namope and should did you may be a dear. Make out for pay reject the amount, any pay reject, Woma quadari our boho drilling, water purification, any bibiada a fat in shoe, Natie, pay reject in Kwane boho drilling company, what do so mawa. Was sound super a brano, a babesha sending sonity, and Sayo, one sounds with the Shishasun Kokra, a Gupnoswa, Yedeba de Pohu Amosika Sem Piano Alquaye. Hey, won't pay when out per day. Would them call them now? Flying, I was 0240 217253 0240 217253. Pay right GH since so young Quadia, any ye Maunkwa.
I feel you do bush now, you say you do feel look on a board, it's camp one a board. Ebe didi na efie ni ye. Si e du bush ni na ye si e du fie. O fie na gudi o ma na do na ma to comment section ma ye wa na. Ya wa ma location na be to na say e tu fie nko a.
Amra ni nyina na bu no. I'm a master na show. Asampa na bano yamna na ebu no. Hey, Master Pierre. Hey, Master Pierre, Master Kwahu. Master Kwahu Pierre. Eh? Your machine na afanu no. Enya sam kitwa. Ah, mo so bro. Your machine na afanu no, already. Ha. Your machine na afanu no. Hey, mo so. Hey. Oh, mon pied! Allez là-bas, mon pied! Hey, mon pied, vraiment! Hey! À cabre! Hey! Afin, moi, je suis là! Hey, mon pied! Oscar! Mon pied, là-bas! Oscar! Oscar! Hey! Mon pied, vraiment! Cabre! Hey! Mon pied! I'm not now, no. And here is me who be that.
Anyway. All right, you're still watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. Thank you very much once again for staying with us. Let me just quickly remind you that Blue Jeans Energy Drink is proudly associated with the Good Morning Ghana show. And the Blue Jeans Energy Drink is good for you. It would revitalize and boost your immune system. It would boost your strength and your energy because it has vitamins and nutrients such as vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and your energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. So Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been tested and it's been tried, and is for bold and active men and women. Please, for bulk purchases, contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190, 0208 128 190, or you can call 055 001 000 055 000 1000. So that's Blue Jeans Energy Drink. Let me also remind you that Easter is around the corner, and there's quite a number of activities that we have earmarked here at Metro TV just to make your Easter worth the while. And so this Easter, all roads will be leading to the Kwapin Ridge for once in a lifetime specialist experience. So join the Metro TV, Original TV and Original FM as we make whistle stopovers at fun-filled joints such as OPK Susie's Place, Superb Lounge, among others, from Ibri, Mampon to Ekropong. Is Easter on a crescendo with jam squads from Metro TV, Original TV and Original FM on the Kwapin Ridge. And we'll tell you, in the course of the week, we'll be bringing you some more details. And so just stay with us here at Metro TV. It's going to be an Easter like never before. So joining me this morning for, as usual, what promises to be a very, very interesting conversation, because there's a lot to talk about this morning. And the man himself who is a proud former member of parliament for the Myong constituency, and he's the deputy administrator for GEFEC. I'm talking about Mohamed Abdulaziz. He's joining me this morning. Good morning, Honorable. Thank you so very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana. Let me also say that I'll be joined shortly by Ishaq Ibrahim, who's a member of the MPP's communications team as well. He's a private legal practitioner. So, Honorable, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Yeah, you were out of town, you were telling me.
I went to Janga in the northeast region.
Okay.
To commiserate with a colleague of mine at work who lost his father.
Okay.
And that was on Sunday.
Okay.
and then later paid a courtesy call to the overlord of Dagbon, the Yana, to basically inform him of my new role and to ask for his blessings whilst I assume my role at GIFEC. And so that was what I engaged in during the weekends. I got back to Accra yesterday. We are working hard. Tomorrow, Wednesday, President Mahama will be launching the 1 million coders program at the Kofi Annan Center, just adjacent Parliament.
Okay.
So maybe if you have time, you can pass by for the launch.
Okay.
The Ministry of Communications would be the main ministry that would drive it. Kofi Annan Center, GIFEC, and almost all the other agencies under the ministry would have some role to play in the program. So after the launch tomorrow, we'll be starting with the pilot program. The number of applications that we are getting is so huge that in less than some 48 hours after the portal was announced by the sector minister, we've had more than 50,000 young people applying to be trained in programming and coding. So there's some level of excitement among the youth of this country. So once the program is launched tomorrow, we would kickstart some work to do the pilot. And I don't know if I have the blessings of my sector minister. We'll be using our regional innovation centers to launch the program and subsequently use what we call the community information centers that have been in place for some time now. I think currently we have about 281 of them dotted across the length and breadth of the country. So according to the sector minister, we'll be deploying those facilities of GIFEC to train the coders. The minister is very passionate about it. He's very passionate about it. The minister himself is somebody who is an IT person, who understands the industry very well, and so he's upbeat about it. If you have time tomorrow, just pass by and witness how the program will be launched, and subsequently pay attention to see how we are going to run with that program.
But what's the importance of this program, really? Why is this exciting?
First
of all, what is it?
I mean, we are in a digital world now, and so we are trying to use that one as a platform to train the young people to use ICT to be gainfully employed, and so we are looking beyond just connectivity, giving people voice and data as our main mandate. So if you look at the 4 levels of ICT or what we do at GIFEC, we are looking at connectivity, where you extend voice and data facilities to unserved areas. Now, when that is done, people now have access to be able to engage in the digital world. And the next one will be the digital illiteracy, where you just want people to be literate in digitalization. And then the last one will be the work-ready skills. So what we are coming to do is to give them skills that will make them ready for the job market. AI has become a very big thing in the world today. And so we want to see how we can position Ghana as the center of AI, at least within the sub-region. And that is very, very interesting. And we are more than confident that if we are able to do that, we would also be dealing with the issue of youth unemployment.
Okay. You also traveled over the weekend. You went to Northeast.
Yes.
And
we went to the overlord of Dagon.
Yes. Now, the whole of last week, not the whole, well, the major part of last week, one of the biggest issues that the media had to have a conversation about has to do with the Bawku crisis.
Yes.
You know, and it's back in the news. And we are increasingly becoming worried that this age-old conflict is still protracting, and we don't seem to be able to find a way of dealing with it, you know, head on. Now, just yesterday, we even heard about some gunfire, gunshots being exchanged between some police officers and some of the residents. And we ask, when is the Bawku conflict going to end? And whether it will even end at all. There have been all kinds of suggestions which have come up. And whilst you were on your way to the northeast, you know, it's actually extended to the northeastern part. Yeah. Obviously, because it's predominantly a Mampusi area. What aren't we doing right? Or what do we need to do again to be able to bring lasting solution, peace, and you know, an end to this Bawku conflict?
I think that we'll have to dialogue more. We can use the security forces just to maintain some relative calm in the area. But for us to achieve an enduring peace in that area, I think that dialogue would do. I'm aware that President Mahama has tasked the Otumfuo to see how he can help in resolving the matter. And I'm sure Otumfuo has started some work on that. The Bawku conflict, we must all be worried because of the geographical location of that area and its proximity to very disturbing places within the sub-region. If we are familiar with that area, especially that we have very loose borders, all the troubles you have in Burkina Faso, the terrorists easily would, they can easily ride a motorbike to get to Bawku. I mean, going through Bawku to Zebila to Pusiga, you know, sometime in the past we used to ride bicycles from Pusiga to Sankasi to buy stuff, you know, and so they can easily cross into this country. We must all be worried. We mustn't treat the Bawku conflict as just an ordinary one because of the potential to go beyond just Bawku. And once these terrorist groups find their way into our jurisdictions, it will be very difficult for us to deal with them, especially that we are dealing with the issue of Galamsey. We must be extremely careful because once they come, and some of these people and those extremist groups, Moro, people even hire them to do all manner of kinds for them. Yeah. And so we should be careful that none of the freedom factions would begin to engage the services of those extremists in Burkina Faso. If they do, we might have it very tough to flush them out. And we must be looking at that one, even within the context of our Galamsey activities, that don't let them come in because of this conflict to either to aid Group A or Group B, and then begin to find some other alternatives of income and will not want to live again. And so we must treat that issue as a very, very serious issue. Otumfuo, I am very confident he will be able to make some inroads into resolving that long-standing conflicts. I remember the role that the Otumfuo-led committee played in resolving the Dagbon crisis that we never thought was going to end. And so, for me, let's continue to use Otumfuo and let's plead with our Mampusi and Kusasi brothers that please, enough of these shootings, enough of these killings. We can't be fighting ourselves in perpetuity, killing children, women, businesses has come to a stall. if you know a Bawku area, and if you have ever lived there, you will know that Bawku is a very serious business town, you know. And so let's give peace a chance. We have nothing to gain with this continuous fight. It is a traditional matter. Those in politics would have very little to do with that. And you must be very careful in speaking about the causes of the matter, except to say that Bawku is part of the North. We are worried that anytime there's going to be some news about the North, most likely it has to do with a conflict issue. It doesn't augur well for our image as people of the North. And so, to our Kusasi brothers and our Mamprosi brothers and sisters, please give peace a chance. President Mahama would continue to work with Otumfuo to be able to resolve the matter. But the security would have to continue to maintain some relative calm in that area.
I've heard some people say that when you look at what's happening in Bawku, we cannot, under any circumstances, describe this as a localized, conflict. It's now a Ghana conflict.
It's a Ghana conflict.
Yes, and it must be treated as such.
Exactly, because I've just told you that Bawku is very close to. We share a border with Burkina Faso. In that area, and I was just telling you that from Bawku to Misiga to Pusiga, you don't even need a motorbike. A bicycle you can ride from Misiga or Pusiga. You can just ride a bicycle to cross. I mean, this is something that we used to do sometime in the past. That would be around the late 90s. And so I'm somehow familiar with that area.
Okay.
And so I was very, very.
You've lived there?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I've lived there for a year or two. Okay. Like a year. And so we must be very, very careful. We shouldn't see the Bawku crisis like any other ordinary crisis because of the infiltration of very sophisticated weapons from those trouble areas to Ghana. And I'm saying this because of the Galamsey activities that we have. Once these people get into our territories, and look, there has been some worrying reports that some of the terrorist groups would normally come to Ghana and seek medical treatment when they are sick or when they are injured in their gun battles. We are told that they are able to come to Ghana to treat themselves. The question we should be asking ourselves is that, for instance, out of 10 people who come to treat themselves, how many of them go back? And those of them who stay back, what do they do? Do they try to, if you like, work with locals within that area, And like I said, people would go and hire them to come and help them fight. Either side A or side B could engage in helping them to come and fight because of the weapons that they have. And when they come, and you even want them to go back, if you are done with their services, will they go? And so we must see this war as a war that affects the entire country, and not just the people of Bawku. They may be receiving the bullets now, but the long-term effect would be on all of us if we don't take serious actions to deal with that conflict in Bawku.
Okay.
And now it's even, you see, when buses are even traveling from the Bawku area to Tamale and route to Kumasi or Accra, sometimes those buses are attacked along the Walewale Road because you shouldn't be surprised about that.
Not at all.
We've read reports of how buses have been attacked on the Bolga-Tamale road. And so we must be worried because that is bad. I mean, people have been killed who are neither Mamprosis nor Kusasis, just innocent Ghanaians traveling on that route and have been killed. And so it's a worrying thing that we should be dealing with. And I trust the Minister for Interior and the Minister for Defense. I trust in their judgment. I trust in their capacity. I trust in the commitment of President Mahama to deal with it, especially that he has involved the Autumn 4.
Your other colleague, Ishaq Ibrahim, is one person who is very passionate about this matter. Unfortunately, he hasn't joined us yet. He should be in the next few minutes. You know, he's Mampusi.
He's Mampusi.
So he takes this.
And so if so people like Ishaq and Co would have a very tough commenting on such matters
very.
Because you don't know what you say that could be misinterpreted. One person that I pity a lot in this matter is the honorable member for Bawku, who is the majority leader. Because one side of him...
he's both Mampusi and
so I can imagine the difficulty in which he finds himself. But he's been able to maintain a fine balance. He's been able to call for calm, unbiased about it. But he's in a very difficult position. I mean, his uncles...
I don't envy him at all. It's a tough one. But you're spot on when you say this fight we're seeing, it has regional, implications. It has, it has regional implications. It's got regional connections and even networks. So it's got to be looked within that context, and it's much bigger than what
the Commission for Small Arms. If you read their reports, and the number of illegal arms that are in the hands of
smuggled into that part
that are in the hands of wrong hands is worrying, and you can have a stable country with this number of illegal
weapons in circulation.
So we must be worried, and national security has a lot of work to do in that respect.
And interestingly, the people who are fueling and perpetrating this matter and actually profiting from it don't even live there.
They don't. They don't.
And
you imagine even the vehicle of the IGP was shot at.
Yes.
So it tells you that, and look, today they even have the guards to attack the military and the Ghana Police Service. It tells you that they have very sophisticated machines and they are daring. And so we must be looking at it just beyond, the Kusasis and the Mampusis. Is it the case that some people have infiltrated our ranks and they are doing the fighting for one side or the other? We must be very worried. And so when you see that today our military can go to stop Galamseyers and the Galamseyers will be able to overpower them. And so Ghana as a safe place, we must have a look at it to assess how safe we are. If Galamseyers can overpower our military and they have to retreat and go and remobilize to come back, it tells you that, look, it is now moving from just an environmental threat, economic threat, to even our security. It's becoming a national security threat.
In fact, I've heard some people say this is an ECOWAS issue, because you just mentioned Burkina Faso. We just share a border with them. There's the eastern part of town. We share, the northern part of our border, we share it with Burkina Faso. And so very soon, I'm sure the Burkina Faso government will begin to express some concerns about this long, protracted chieftaincy land, disputes which have characterized the fighting there. And they may want to perhaps sound a note of caution to us that we either deal with it or they're going to shut their border.
We have to.
So it's extremely important.
I mean, the borders are so loose. It's not like it's not like our borders are controlled. I say you can ride a bicycle. Sometimes you meet these local police guys. They will stop you. They will search you. And very typical of the security services. So if you like. What we accuse the Ghana police of is even in that place too. Some few safer would allow you a pass, and so we must be worried. We must be worried about it. It's not just a Bawku conflict. It's threatening the very existence of our people in that area and Ghana. at large.
Anyway, so the only reason why I broached this topic was because he's just coming back from a trip in that part of town, and so I just thought that he.
But most people don't know that the Tamale area is very distinct.
Yes.
Geographically.
Yes.
From Upper East and Upper West.
Yes.
Most people in Accra just think that northern region is just one region.
Yes.
We have about 5 regions in the north today.
Yes.
Either 2, we have just 3.
Yeah.
And there are people in Tamale or northern region who have never had the cause to travel to Upper East or Upper West.
True.
Do you get it?
True.
And there are people even in Upper East or Upper West who haven't traveled to Northeast or Savannah.
Yeah.
Yes, we are very.
We have a lot in common.
We have a lot
we're not the same.
In common.
Yeah, we have similar
Yes, we have. Yes, but
in fact, I mentioned you're just coming back. I'm talking about the trip.
Yeah,
back
exactly. And I'm sure even next week I should be in Upper East and Upper West.
Okay, we can wish you well
to do some monitoring of projects.
Okay, I see. Interesting. Anyway, so Bawku was not the only issue which was of bother to Ghanaians. But the other issue which has also been a source of bother to Ghanaians is the electricity and water hikes, which was announced by the PURC. And we are aware that electricity alone is close to about 15% and water is about 4%. Now, a section of Ghanaians have not been happy with this increase at all, especially in light of the harsh economic conditions that Ghanaians find themselves. So if you look at today's daily graphic, the daily guide, COPEC have been reacting to this matter. And there's a business guide report which says that the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Duncan Amoah, has indicated that the industry players will oppose the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, PURC, recent upward rates for electricity and water tariffs if the government fails to rescind the decision. Mr. Amoah opines that the recent tariff hikes are unjustifiable and unreasonable. If you look at the circumstances surrounding the ECG, there are issues of accountability that render even public procurement processes and laws moot and ineffective. We have almost 2,000 containers unaccounted for, running into hundreds of millions of cedis. Then we turn back and claim we don't have money, hence being unable to sustain operations. Therefore, we are raising tariffs. This doesn't add up, and PURC needs to backtrack on the decision. COPEC Executive Secretary further added that coming back to the consumer to insist we pay more, I can assure you we will resist it fiercely. The Public Utility Regulatory Commission announced an upward adjustment in the average end user tariff for electricity by 14.7% and 4.02% increase in water tariffs across the board for all categories of consumers. Now, the revision follows the Commission's quarterly tariff review process for the first and second quarters of 2025. The PURC attributed the adjustments to factors including the exchange rate between the Ghana cedi and US dollar, inflation projections, fuel costs, particularly natural gas, and the current hydrothermal generation mix. So these are the 4 factors which have influenced the increments in tariff, and we call it end user tariff. So today, if I was paying 100 Ghana cedis a month, I'll be paying 114 cedis a month for electricity, and for water, I'll pay 104 cedis for water. Now, Honorable, before I bring you in, let me just say that Ishaq Ibrahim is a private legal practitioner, a member of the MPP's legal directorate, but he communicates for the MPP as well. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
Good morning to you.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Yes. I must apologize.
Yeah.
My road got very crazy.
Okay.
So I had to take alternative routes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yes.
We can understand that.
Yeah.
So we are just looking at the tariff increases, which was announced by the PURC yesterday.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask Mr. Abdulaziz that how do you, I mean, you don't work with PURC, but as a member of this government, you certainly would have had some reactions from even your own constituents. You're not an MP, but former MP of Mion. How do you convince Ghanaians right here on Good Morning Ghana why we should be paying more for electricity, given the kind of reasons that have been raised or given by persons like OPEC and, of course, section of Ghanaians, which is ECG is bleeding. We've seen what's happening with this containers thing. We know about technical losses. We know about commercial losses. And yet we keep paying for tariff increases without how do you call it? commensurate increase in the quality of the service that are given by, especially ECG. How do you convince us about these tariff increases?
It's not a very pleasant announcement. And, we're all going to be affected by the increase in let's call a spade a spade. That the quarterly increment in utility tariffs is part of the conditions under which we signed on to the 3 billion IMF bailout in 2022.
Yeah.
The IMF insisted, as part of their conditions, that there must be a quarterly review of utility tariffs. And so I'm sure government would want to engage the IMF further, because with these increments, you can be sure that cost of production for local businesses will go high.
Yep.
Household incomes or disposable incomes will be affected. And so it's not a pleasant announcement. But like I said, it is something that we have signed on to the IMF. The program is still ongoing. I'm sure the IMF finished their assessment only yesterday or so. They were in town for 2 weeks. And so I'm sure the Minister of Finance, working with the PURC, may want to look at terms and conditions of the bailout that can be reviewed. But 15%, especially for electricity, is not a pleasant increase at all. But we must also be worried, just like Kupet talked about, that just about a month ago, we were told about how 1,346 containers containing electrical materials, cables and meters were stolen from the port and sold to private people. So that would obviously increase the cost of production of ECG, their running cost. We are told that the ECG had a plan to do procurement to the tune of less than 2 billion, but ended up doing procurements more than 8 billion Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can tell what the motive would have been. Ghana is largely the public sector in Ghana is largely procurement driven.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can tell the motivation for that appetite in procurement, and so we must be worried. We talked about commercial and technical losses. Those issues we must also be dealing with. But I think that for us to have a reliable and efficient and cost-effective tariffs, I think that what government intends to do is the best way for us to involve the private sector in the distribution of power. We must, you see, because it is state-owned, the attitude is not encouraging. But if we can get the private sector to be engaged with the metering, billing, and the collection of tariffs, I'm sure some efficiency would come into the system, and that would obviously force tariffs down. And that's why the Minister for Energy and Green Transition is very insistent on not privatizing, private participation.
Yeah.
When you say privatizing, the tendency for people to believe that government is trying to privatize the entire ECG is there, but the plan is not to privatize the entire ECG. It's just to bring them in at the tail end, where they can be in charge of metering, billing, and collection of revenue. I'm sure if we're able to inject some efficiency into it, we would be able to force down tariffs. But trust me, it's not a pleasant announcement even for a government itself. We understand what Ghanaian homes would go through. Inflation has started easing. This increase would most likely have some inflationary pressures.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate the difficulties, especially in an environment where we want to promote private sector growth. This would hurt businesses and homes. It's not a pleasant thing. But like I said, it's too early yet. Let's see what a government may want to do about it. We must also be mindful, like I said earlier, it's part of the IMF conditionalities. And let's see how we can weave out of it.
Now, if it's about subsidies, I doubt if the government can do something about it.
No, subsidies, we have long gone past that. We have long gone past the issue of subsidies. Subsidies. I will not. If you subsidize, where do you get the revenue?
Absolutely.
To be able to meet the cash flow demands of ECG. Yeah. But I think that we're losing a lot. Like we talked about this 1,246. And tomorrow, permit me to bring this matter. I wanted us to discuss that matter towards the tail end of our discussions.
That's fine.
But once I've brought the issue of the containers that were stolen and sold to private players, I understand that, and I've seen videos. 3 people shared with me a video. You know, I was here last week with Richard.
Richard Anyagba.
Yes, and I made a comment about this. Containers.
Missing containers.
And I remember saying that in my estimation, I said it was proper and fair for people who were in charge to be questioned. I remember mentioning Honorable Afonyo Makin, the Honorable
Dubik Mahama.
Matthew Bawku, who was a minister for energy at that time, and later became the running mate to former vice president, and also Dubik. That was what I said. That they need to be questioned because those things happen under their tenure. It is my understanding, and the videos I've seen confirm that the next day on the program, you rendered an apology to
Bawku Prempeh and
Afonyo Makin,
the 2 of them,
and you sought to suggest that I had made some irresponsible statements and that I had impugned on their integrity. I don't know what would have motivated you to do that, but I would want to state it on this platform that I did not make any uncomplimentary remark about any of them. I didn't impugn on their integrity. I stand by what I said. The apology was probably coming from you or Metro TV. I have not rendered any apology to Afonyo Makin. If he thinks that I impugn on his integrity, he knows what to do. I'm a gentleman. If he's able to prove to me that I really said something uncomplimentary or impugn on his integrity, I'll be a gentleman to retract and apologize. But to the extent that I'm convinced that I didn't do any of these things, I want to state it emphatically on your platform that you don't have my consent to render any apology, and that the apology you did was either at your personal level or from Metro TV. I can't fault you for that. The best you could have done was to issue a disclaimer, but not to render an apology and to make a statement to suggest that I had made some sweeping, unfounded, baseless allegations against them. I didn't do that. I'm a very firm person. I don't talk to issues that I'm not firmed on. And we're all human beings. If I err, I will apologize, but I'm not sure I did. And I still insist that the Afonyo Makin, Matthew Prempeh, and Dubik should be questioned about the stolen 1,346 containers that we use taxpayers' money to import into this country. It was irresponsible that you spend huge sums of money, billions of Ghana cedis, to import electrical materials, to extend power, and to strengthen the system, only for those items to find their way out into private companies, into the hands of foreign nationals who will end up selling those things to us. So they just walk to any of the ECG offices to look for a meter and see how you suffer. And so I just want to set the record straight on that matter. Also on the issue of the...
Now speaking about setting the record straight, I think it's important that I come in here. You know, the day you made those comments with Richard Anyagba, he had a lot of calls from persons that I had a lot of respect for.
Including Afonyo Makin, I guess.
Yes.
I know how you operate.
Alex called you.
He called you. Yes, I know how you operate.
Yes.
But and I'm sure you would have threatened. you would have threatened, you would have threatened, apologize, or court. I know how you preach.
No. Here's the thing. Yourself this morning.
Oh, no, here's the thing.
You've already clarified it, and then.
No, so he just confirmed to me that Afenyo called him.
No, he did.
He called you.
Yeah, he spoke to me too. Yes. He spoke to me.
I know how you operate.
Let me finish. Let me finish on Kwahu. And so for me, it wasn't even about the Afenyo marking call, because I'm used to politicians calling and not being happy about something.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the main reason why I had to come and say what I said the following day was because the people who called me, people had a low spread. They were not in politicians.
Yes.
The only mistake that I made, and I want to apologize to you on this, was that the persons who called me actually said that, my brother, I think your other colleague, your guest who came, said that some persons should be arrested.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
How you always arrest?
Exactly. So no, you didn't. So I'm saying that you didn't. So when they said that, the mistake on my part was that I didn't come back to view the
clip.
The how do you call it, the interview,
so you went
interaction. Exactly what the because I trusted them.
Hi.
And then I said, regarding arrest and prosecution, it would be unfair to the two persons to say they should be arrested and prosecuted when they have not even been charged.
Even when I say arrest and
so that's what I'm saying. I want to apologize to you on that.
Your integrity?
No, but
it doesn't. I was just expressing my opinion.
I get it, but I get it.
Nothing beyond that.
See, if somebody said, "I'll protect you," somebody said you should be prosecuted and arrested. If I feel
what I even said was that they should be questioned.
No, I agree.
And I agree. Think that if you were ECG MD,
yes,
if you were Minister for Energy,
whoever was involved,
if you were the board chair,
was in charge,
and these things happen, at least they should take your word from you.
Honorable,
what do you know about it?
Don't worry at all. That's what I'm saying. That I should apologize to you because you didn't say what I said. You said.
Yes.
I also want to apologize.
So, Honorable Afenyo Marking, if you are watching or if anybody close to him is watching, the apology came from Metro TV or Imoro. I didn't render any apology because I didn't offend you in any way. If you are able to prove to me that I offended you, and I'll be a gentleman.
So I'm sorry about that too.
I'm sorry and apologize.
Because I said what you didn't say, and that's unfair to you. That's unfair.
I mean, that's okay.
I mean, you have every right to say, look,
you
think that people should be made to answer.
I wanted us to deal with it at the end of the program. Once the mission containers come, it's just proper and fair that I.
That's fine. I apologize for that.
It's okay. I mean,
I know you're a brother. You're a big brother. You forgive me. So now I know.
I don't hold anything against you. I was just trying to clarify that matter.
Thank you so very much. Anyway, so Honorable.
Yes. Good. Yes. Good morning.
Tariffs are up.
Once again, good morning to the viewers. I've listened to Honorable and I've listened to some of his colleagues.
Okay.
You can see that there is a push of the blame elsewhere as to why they are increasing tariffs, which is not the appropriate way to start.
Is the PURC that announces tariffs?
No, but he says something which is very fundamental. We need to clarify that side before we can put on the building blocks.
Okay.
He said that the IMF agreement was what the previous government agreed that there will be quarterly increment in electricity tariffs or other tariffs. My colleagues have made it very clear that there is no such an agreement. In fact, before I came to air, I predicted this in my camp. I've clarified with a lot of people. They said there is no such an agreement. So the NDC should tell people that we have a decision to make, and this is the decision we have made. But you cannot push the decision to make such a choice on the fact that somebody have more or less made it to be binding on you. That is just irresponsible. And this is what we know. The campaign on reset, so far, the reset is not going very well, in my opinion. No, having said that, so perhaps they should go ahead to publish where they think the agreement required them to make a quarterly adjustment. So having said that, let me put this in a proper perspective. Ghanaians need to be aware that it is a choice that they have made. Just 2 weeks ago, they celebrated with fanfare the fact that they have cancelled various taxes and that it's reducing the burden on the Ghanaian. And they were very happy about that. But you can see the practice of robbing from Peter to pay Paul. Having cancelled that side, of which I welcome the e-levy. It was unpopular tax, I agree. And even regardless of which party won, if MPP had won, we know that the e-levy was going to go. But for the betting tax and others, the jury is still out there. My opinion is that these were bad decisions. In fact, we should be discouraging the youth from staking lotto, and we should be discouraging the youth from betting in general. But this is the decision that they have made. After all, I mean, morality doesn't matter. After all, a Sunni Muslim is now heading the national lottery in the country. So, you've got a chance. You have spoken for some time.
Counsel, where from these religious arguments?
I am just trying to buttress the point that when it comes
Ghana
to,
is a secular state.
Morality,
you are not talking about a Muslim heading whatever institution.
When it comes to, please, you have had your chance. Let me rest. You can then have the opportunity to rebut. Otherwise, we cannot flow.
Go ahead.
Yes. So you have made that decision to put burden on Ghanaians by increasing tariffs. Just make it very clear that we have given you this and we are taking this away from you. But do not push it that it was somebody who made you to take that decision. That is just an irresponsible way of doing governance. So you have made that decision and you are putting the burden on the Ghanaian. Make it very clear. Now, and another complaint Ghanaians have is they do not see value for money. Because since you came, as we try our best to keep the lights on, Ghanaians are beginning to experience that the doomsday that they accused you previously is beginning to creep in gradually, because there are reports everywhere that they are beginning to experience problems with electricity and lights. So you need to make sure that the Ghanaians have a value for money. I don't know what really informed the fact that, what informed your decision to increase the tariffs, even though you are trying to push the blame to the previous government. But whatever informed you, you need to be guided by the principle of value for money. And since you say you are here to bring relief to the people, is this a choice that can bring relief for the people? For me, it doesn't look like that. So perhaps you need to look elsewhere. As you said subsidy might not be the right way. But instead of subsidizing, maybe if you think the Ghanaian is already overburdened, that was why you were voted into power. Perhaps you could make choices elsewhere that will affect people with deeper pockets. I'm not sure whether this increment is across board that affects the poor. The very fact that you campaign that you were here to safeguard the poor, it doesn't look like that if it is being increased. I mean, look at the trade-off. E-levy, perhaps the poor would have sent about 200, 300 a day, or even 50 a day. How much would have been the impact on them? Probably 1 or 2 cedis. Now the increment in these tariffs by whatever percentage. Look at that particular burden. If a citizen were to do analysis of this trade-off, he would know that keeping e-levy and not increasing this thing would have been better off. So as we keep reminding our NDC colleagues, when you're opposition, talking is very easy. But the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. So far, the people who be eating this electricity will know that it is not that sweet.
But Ishak, you just said that.
Yes.
If the MPP had won these elections,
yes,
you would have still maintained.
You would have scrapped. Yes, I mean it was very clear in our manifesto.
Yes, you would have scrapped e-levy, betting tax, and so on. And then you would have still reviewed tariff upwards. I thought you had.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that.
I didn't say tariff.
But,
I said e-levy.
E-levy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But the question for me, for you, is that: are you saying that the person who today is not paying e-levy, and not paying betting tax, is still not better off, even in the face of these tariff increases?
How many people are doing the betting? So, vast majority of people in Ghana do not do betting. The e-levy.
So, the person who was paying the betting tax and the e-levy, they are still better off.
No. I mean, vast majority. I don't know. I don't have the.
I'm saying that those who are, were paying those levies.
Betting is already a vice that almost every country, both Islam and Christianity, both agree that betting is a vice. And so the probability of winning the lottery is almost as being struck by lightning. So it's already a vice. So I believe we ought to have discouraged that one. But what I'm trying to say is that they proud themselves as people who are on the side of the people. That is why they have cancelled those taxes. They celebrated it last week and 2 weeks ago. And the point I was making is that I agree with the cancellation of e-levy. we introduced it, and we accept that it was a mistake. That was why it was in our manifesto that we were going to cancel it. But having said that, the same party that claim they are on the side of people is going to bring about this increment in tariffs. So the point I'm just trying to make is that they should either communicate to the Ghanaian very clearly that we are doing this, so that people can actually do their own analysis. Whether cancel all this taxation and then making this increment in tariffs, are they better off or worse off? And if they are worse off, are they really the party that is working for the people? So this is what I want. But you can see that they are all their statements from him here this morning to their other communicators. The point is that this thing is binding on us because the previous administration have reached this agreement with the IMF that we have to be doing quarterly increment. That's not the best way to communicate. And as I said, they are faced with choice. Government always have choice. And they could have leave the tariffs over there and go for elsewhere where maybe the people who have deeper pockets will be more affected. My point is that these tariffs is going to affect the poor more than the relief they were giving in cancelling e-levy. So this is choices that they have made. And they need to communicate clearly so that Ghanaian can praise them for that. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So you see, I was very clear.
First of all, he says you should prove to him where the IMF said.
I was very clear. Yes. I was very clear at the outset that this is not a pleasant announcement.
Yeah.
And that even government itself is not too enthused about it. And let's remind ourselves that this comes from PURC, of course a state agency, but it is an independent institution that will take all the factors into account, including the exchange rate, to be able to arrive at such issues. And I've told you that it was part of the IMF arrangement between Ghana and IMF under a $3 billion dollars bailout over a period of 36 months. You are asking me to
he said he's not convinced.
A period of 6 months.
He says he's not convinced.
36 months. The IMF bailout
is for 3 years.
For 3 years.
Yes, so it's a point to where the agreement said, because
don't worry.
People who are in charge of it,
I may not be able to provide you with that one instantly where I said, but we'll get back to it. We are talking about e-levy. This was a campaign pledge that we made.
Yeah.
This was a tax that we imposed on Ghanaians that increased cost of production and that affected homes. In fact, on the birthday of the then majority leader, Honorable Osechi Mensah, we even presented him with an e-levy cake. This is how insensitive. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was the chairman of your economic management team, was at that birthday party. And you presented him with an e-levy birthday cake. This tells you how insensitive you guys were when you were in government. Emission tax is gone. Betting tax is gone. Cut in expenditure in government. Ghanaians are seeing what they haven't seen for decades. Look, tomorrow, just one day, just go and stop around chain homes and you see President Mahama going home. And you'll be surprised. He has 3 vehicles, 3 saloon cars. He's demonstrating that, look, we all need to tighten our belts. And so, look, today, under the Ministry of Education, a budget, about 300 million Ghana cedis is being provided to provide sanitary pads to young girls. These are all interventions that will bring relief to the Ghanaian. Unless, of course, you think that those don't matter. Okay? Now, VAT, we're about restructuring the VAT. That will bring it to somewhere around 17%, because the current rate of the VAT with the structure that we have today is almost about 22%. If we are able to restructure VAT as we promised to do and we are doing, VAT would eventually plus Get Fund and NHIL would come to around 17%. We are about also repealing the COVID levy. I'm sure by next year we're engaging with the stakeholders. And so there are a lot of plans ahead to be able to bring more relief to the Ghanaian people. But you see, when I hear my colleagues from the MPP talk about relief and the economy and how, we are not fulfilling our promises. You had a list of group of people to talk about the economy. Under the watch of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, dollar moved from 4 cedis to about 16 Ghana cedis. You thought that brought relief to the Ghanaian people? That when dollar rose
so this is the birthday party you're talking
exactly.
about.
When the dollar moved from 4 cedis to 16 cedis, that was relief to Ghanaians. When you moved a liter of petrol from 3.6 Ghana cedis to about 25 Ghana cedis in 2022, that was relief. You have forgotten where you are coming from. When indeed, in 2022 alone, about 850,000 Ghanaians were pushed into extreme poverty by your policies. Was that relief? You move our debt stock from 120 billion Ghana cedis to about 800 billion Ghana cedis. Was that a relief? And so if we want to talk about how insensitive and how government brought hardships to the Ghanaian people, you are the least group of people to be talking about it, because your record is far, far worse than you are complaining about. But like I said, we are not too pleased about it. It's too early in the day. I don't know what a government may want to do about it. Government may want to step in. I'm not too sure yet. I can't speak to that. But it's not a pleasant announcement. And I'm saying that it would affect disposable incomes of homes. Businesses will be affected. It has some inflationary pressures that we appreciate. But PURC is an independent state agency. And so we will see what happens in the next few days. It's too early in the day to tell whether government would make some intervention in that direction or not.
Okay. I'm finding out something quite interesting about the tariff increments and how that is tied to the IMF conditionality. But before we do that, let's just take a little breather. It's just a minute. So you're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Please stay with us.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready poor mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me. It is part of the mattress within the front there. Yeah? That'll be the mattress where the jet go to. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like ash foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana fu ni age efi say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me dey go me jollof mu me misti wa hodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley the barbecue dey go on
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen
Adofo mamu nye huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDA agi ejodi nkratu yatu.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Femi Kakalika, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Femi once now.
Hey, that's a new.
Improve car.
Yeah.
Captain was key to double the action. Sasso spray. Mr. Femi Sasso quell. Yeah, come, my Sasso.
Sasso, come tom preco.
You're the answer to my prayers. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Unemu bua unkohwe Dr. Man wo ye den wa.
Oh, me say yamfa nko ma mi buru wa.
Ayi ma mi doburo. Ko ni adele be ko bra. Mo mi yamfa nko Dr. Man ho.
Dr. Man o ya de.
Bra se ba no mpemu adwuma sasabro sro Dr. Man o ye. Sai ni kemi kwa na meka. Oh no mpemu nim di ono na ye expert nya zanfo no. O akra eni kumasi no mpemu expert yen kan kire.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. NGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
You're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. The show is live on 94.1 FM. Your radio dial 94.1 FM. So put it on, tune your radio to 94.1 FM, and you'll be able to monitor and follow the conversation that we have here. So with me in the studio is lawyer Ishaq Ibrahim. He is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NPP's communications team. I also do have Mohammed Abdulaziz, a former Miang MP and also the deputy GIFEC coordinator. We're talking about the hike in electricity tariff, and they both, as usual, have been debating why it makes sense or doesn't make sense. But there was something you wanted to say briefly before.
Oh, yeah. You can see, in attempt to justify it, this is a party that has campaigned on recent.
Okay.
But they kept making reference to the previous administration and how difficult it was. No one doubted that it was difficult. It wasn't just Ghana. The world was in a difficult place. He made reference to 2002, but he has forgotten that from 2020 to 2022, 2023, it wasn't, the cost of living crisis wasn't just Ghana. So we're in a difficult period. Everywhere in the world, things are getting better. So I don't know. It's difficult for people to really forget the period that we were in. You have to remember that these problems, we anticipated them that 2023, 2022, it wasn't going to be easy. You remember the president issued a statement where he said that we know how to bring economies back to life, but we do not know how to bring people back to life. And that he was going to prioritize people. This was a statement from a statesman that was celebrated worldwide. So we anticipated some of those problems. But this is a party that has campaigned on what? Reset. But they are still on the campaign mood. You said that you could make things better. And that was why Ghanaians agreed to give you the power. But look at the 14% increment you are bringing. We don't have similar emergencies and exigencies that we have in 2020, 2021. So just accept and explain to the people the situation we are in. We members of opposition can only see the insensitivity on your part that says that you are giving people 1% elsewhere in e-levy and then bringing a hoping 14%. And you try to look at some of the sources. We want you to publish the source that you said the IMF require you to do that. And maybe you can help make your case to Ghanaians. We believe that the agreement do not contain such information, but you said the agreement does. So publish that agreement for Ghanaians to see. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay. Honorable.
Well, I don't want us to belabor this point. And like I said earlier, I will not be able to provide you with the IMF document just right here. But there's a story somewhere in 2023, April 14th, My Joy Online.
Okay.
IMF deal, electricity tariff hikes, tax reforms, key conditions in securing program with IMF, Ken Oforiatta. This was the Minister for Finance who signed us onto the IMF deal. And this was this same man saying that tariff hikes and reforms in our tax regime and three other reforms were necessary for us to sign onto the IMF deal. In fact, there were conditions. He said it. Go to My Joy Online. Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta has outlined 5 key measures necessary for government to pursue in order to secure. The emphasis being in order for government to secure an International Monetary Fund support program. They are, one, electricity tariffs, which have brought the cumulative increase to 60% since August 2022. So from August 2022 to April, electricity tariffs had gone up by 60%. And Ken Oforiatta, who was the finance minister at that time, said and signed, in fact, he signed Ghana onto the IMF deal, says that it was a condition for us to have a deal with the IMF. And so if you don't want us to believe the person who led us to IMF, I don't know who would believe again in this matter.
Okay.
But I still insist that it is a very unpleasant thing for government to do, for PURC to do. To understand we are in government, we are affected by actions and inactions of PURC,
right.
Even though it is an independent institution. It's not a pleasant announcement. Like I said, I don't know if government has some immediate plans to be able to deal with it and how businesses can be cushioned. I don't know yet, but for you to deny that the tariff that we are saying has nothing to do with the IMF deal is not true, unless you want to further discredit Ken Oforiatta. But if that's not the case, it's very clear that the man who led us to IMF says that. And then stop this COVID thing. This is the very argument that landed you with the 38%. You made those arguments right from 2020 up to 2024, and Ghanaians just didn't buy into it. You must be learning, you must be working out of it. You see, the economy was much better up to 2019 because you were running under an IMF deal. When the IMF deal came to an end in 2019, then you had the COVID funds. A lot of funds that you got from the World Bank, IMF, about 3 billion Ghana cedis, and so you had a lot of resources that was able to hold the economy for the year 2020. But as soon as you were out of IMF and you could not even access those funds again, then you were exposed for who you were. And so stop making excuses out of COVID. Those arguments you have made, and Ghanaians rejected it. In fact, you blame almost everything. You blame teachers. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was now blaming principalities and demons, being behind the economic mess that he landed us in. And so you blame almost everything, including the death of the Queen in England. And Ghanaians rejected that. So if I were you, don't let us go back there. Tomorrow, in 2024, we are told that about 8.4 Ghanaians went to bed without a meal, empty stomach, 24 hours. That's what the report says, under your watch. And so you guys have no moral duty, moral right. You don't have that right to come here and begin to pontificate on the national economy.
Okay.
Ghanaians, 8.4 million Ghanaians went to bed without a meal. You push 850,000 Ghanaians into extreme poverty. And so, lawyer, I mean, when it comes to, yes, we understand the burden that the 14% hike in electricity tariffs will bring to the Ghanaian people.
Okay.
We do appreciate that. But like I said, it's too early in the day for us to make very conclusive statements.
Okay.
But you are the last to talk about the economy and how Ghanaians are suffering.
Okay.
Ghanaians went through worse conditions under your tenure, and you justified it, and you celebrated it, and you refer to President Akufo-Addo as a celebrated person worldwide. I'm not sure even in Chile.
Statement.
Okay. Well, that's that statement when he said we could only bring back the economy and not lives. I don't know what he meant by that. The economy was collapsed. He was not able to bring it back. Before he exited, he said the next leader was going to take us out of the economic woes. He said it. So he never brought the economy back.
Okay. So I mean, for me, two things. Yes, you said that the hike in utility tariffs are painful. But more importantly is that we cannot continue to endlessly foot the bills of ECG with the kind of systemic and structural problems that they have. That ought to be fixed, because rights go with responsibility. If you feel you have the right to my money, you have a responsibility to make sure that you provide me with quality services. So because it's otherwise the frustration will deepen. If I know I'm paying more, but the lights keep going off, the intermittent power supply that sometimes happens in our area or in different areas. It's for me, those are the issues that they ought to look at. And the other thing is that if what the energy minister has said to us, which is that under the IMF and the World Bank are actually on the neck of the government, of course, based on the IMF conditionalities with the IMF deal that we have. We're supposed to be paying about close to about 60% or 68% or so. If we've just done 14 point something percent, we have about 50 something more to go for the rest of the year. So we must all brace up. Yeah, we must all brace up for the quarterly review, upward review of these tariffs. Otherwise the sector is going to collapse.
You land the economy into trouble.
Yes.
You messed everybody up.
Okay.
And you run to the IMF.
Yes.
And you accept some of these conditions for the Ghanaian people. And when it is being implemented,
all right.
Then you tend to complain again.
Okay.
That's not fair.
So let's go to Kwahu.
That's not fair.
Let's go to Kwahu. And something very interesting is happening there. We are partners to a business forum that is taking place at that part of town. Yeah. And so we want to look at it, but more broadly speaking, what this means for, entrepreneurship and what this means for the Ghanaian economy. Yeah. So the Chief of Staff, we're told, is leading a second Kwahu Business Forum, and the event is to boost entrepreneurship. Yeah. Now, Kester Abraham Cranche is reporting that President John Dramani Mahama has tasked the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, to spearhead the second edition of the Kwahu Business Forum. It's a strategic initiative aimed at fostering entrepreneurial growth and strengthening businesses across the country. The forum to start from Saturday, April 19, 2025 at Kwahu in Praia, in the East region, forms part of the government's broader agenda to stimulate private sector development and reduce unemployment through enterprise-driven solutions. Now, speaking to journalists at the presidency yesterday, Mr. Deborah emphasized that the forum would serve as a critical platform for stakeholders to collaborate on policies and strategies to propel the economy forward. Now, this initiative will gradually transition into a national forum to ensure that businesses and the private sector thrive. He adds that President's vision is to create a legacy of business growth where the private sector becomes a key driver in job creation and economic expansion. The Chief of Staff revealed that the government anticipated significant economic benefits from the forum, including increased revenue generation and investment opportunities. He adds that the event would be an annual affair with plans to expand its scope in subsequent editions to cover more sectors and regions. He says, we're committed to making this a sustainable platform where entrepreneurs, investors, and policymakers can converge to shape Ghana's economic future. Mr. Deborah said, the 3-day event will feature panel discussions on entrepreneurship and business innovation, networking sessions for startups and investors, policy dialogues between government officials and industry leaders, and exhibitions showcasing local and international business opportunities. Stakeholders from various sectors, including finance, agriculture, technology, and manufacturing, are expected to participate in the forum. The Chief of Staff encouraged Ghanaian entrepreneurs, business leaders, and the youth to actively engage in the forum, underscoring its potential to unlock new opportunities. This is not just a Kwahu initiative. It is a national movement towards economic resilience and prosperity. He expressed optimism that the Kwahu Business Forum would mark another milestone in the country's journey towards sustainable development and private sector-led growth. Now, Annie, I don't know whether we still have the video where the Chief of Staff was addressing journalists. If we can play that video before we kickstart the conversation.
Importance the president attaches to it. It's a project that he wants to see succeed. Now, the first strategy the bankers themselves gave us is that at least each of the banks that will show up are going to pick 5 projects, 5 bankable projects for this year. And they expect that next year when we return to Kwahu, they will invite those 5 people that they helped or assisted to come and testify. So if this continues for the next 5 years, each bank picking minimum 5 people, 5 enterprises to support, the following year doing same, I'm sure by the end of his 4-year tenure, we'll have over 600 enterprises that we can pinpoint and say that these are things that President Mahama started. And so basically this is about it. It's going to be an annual event. even though the name is titled Kwahu Business Forum, I think going into the future, it could be national in character, whereby business people will travel from all over the country to converge at Kwahu and to have interaction with bankers and public institutions. So, for example, it should be possible that somewhere along the line next year, they could have maybe the Commissioner General of GRA trying to explain to businesses the advantages they can have and things like that. So basically it will just be around how to grow businesses under President Mahama's watch. And I think it's something that is welcoming, and I support it because without the private sector growing, not much will happen. Apart from creating jobs, people making money, our system itself, I think, will flourish. And then automatically to feed into his agenda of, leading the export drive in the West African sub-region. So that when he starts, let's say, towards the end of the year, President Mahama could organize Ghana's international trade fair in, say, Burkina Faso, in Niger, in Mali, and he will take along some of the Ghanaian entrepreneurs to go and showcase their products so that they can import from.
Okay, so that's the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah, addressing the media yesterday, it must have been yesterday or so, on this Kwahu Business Forum. And we understand it's the first of its kind. It started last year on a smaller scale, and it now looks like it's been upscaled. And he's just explained what the rationale behind it. But we want to look at it more from the, broadly speaking, whether this is the kind of forum we need to be able to, get our private sector to be at the commanding heights of business. Mohamed, what more information do you have about this forum? Because you are very good friends with the Chief of Staff as well. Have you had any briefing on this? What this Kwahu forum is all about?
Why bring me this show this morning? That I'm very good.
Not just a friend, but a very good
friend. Very good friend to the Chief of Staff,
Yes, no, they're very good friends.
But he's a nice man. It's a major boost for private sector.
Okay.
I believe that if there's one phrase or statement that I've ever believed from President Kwahu, it would be when he said that the private sector is
the engine of growth. Right.
I believe in that.
But that's not in sync with your sociological posture. You're a social democratic party. You believe in interventionist policies,
Socialism.
which is
you see. Okay.
The state must do business more than the private sector, because when the private sector does business, it's the ordinary person. Basically
I don't want us to get into ideological arguments, because that would take us a whole day.
Right.
Today, as we speak, nobody is implementing or practicing an extreme end of any political philosophy. Nobody does that today. Almost everybody has moved to the center. Even those who claim to be capitalist, private, business-oriented. There are those who will tell us that they did more social interventions more than us. That's what they have always said.
Right.
But of course, it also tells you that you don't understand what social intervention means. I've always believed that, look, people don't understand what social intervention means when they talk about it. Most people. For instance, if you see health insurance, under the MPP, under President Kwahu, what they had was mutual health insurance. It took President Mills, President Mahama to migrate us onto the National Health Insurance Scheme. Metro Mass, something not new. But of course, these are very good social interventions. But Imoro, is it not also a social intervention to extend electricity to rural communities who didn't have electricity?
Absolutely.
That would save lives and boost their local economy. Is that not social intervention?
Of course it is.
Is it not a social intervention to construct a classroom for a village that has no any school structure to educate them? Is that not a social intervention?
It is.
We have that record in this country more than any other regime. And so people don't even understand what social intervention really means. Whilst you may want to look at it from the angle of health insurance and school feeding and stuff like that, I think that social intervention goes beyond just things that I've talked about. But coming back to what we're talking about, I believe that we need to support the private sector. Look, the private sector is the largest employer. If we want to grow the economy, under the IMF arrangement, we are talking about inclusive growth. If we want to grow the economy, if we don't want our growth to be hinged only on our mineral resources, the oil and gas, and we want it to be inclusive, then we must be supporting the private sector more than we are doing. And this is a very clear example of a government that is interested, that is deliberate about supporting the private sector in this country. Like I said, the largest employer, it will lead to inclusive growth. Today, as we speak, we have about 800,000 people on the government payroll. But you are aware that the labor force in Ghana is into millions. I mean, I'm sure we are heading towards some 6 to 7 million employed people in this country. So just about less than 10% of that is in the government sector. And so we must support more of the private sector. I like it when he says that the banks that will come there, and in Ghana today we have about 23 universal banks. Right. The African Development Bank is going to be part of it. If all these 23 universal banks goes there, and each of them would be supporting 5 businesses, not just advancing credit to them, but also mentoring, coaching, and supporting them in business, tackle startups, small businesses, and that is good. Access to credit is a major barrier even for young people who finish school and want to start up their own businesses. So to the extent that President Mahama has thought of an initiative that would bring support to businesses, to young people who want to start up their own businesses, we must commend him and commend him highly for that. I just pray and hope that we don't play politics with it. Like I said last week, when you are swimming in the presence of your enemy, he may accuse you of raising dust. I expect our colleagues on the other side to see good in this. It's not going to be a partisan.
My understanding is that the other side have been invited to join.
Exactly.
And so I'm told the likes of Brandon Champo and a few other people have all joined
businesses.
And are coming for the program.
It doesn't matter whether the person belongs to NPP or NDC. To the extent that he's a Ghanaian willing to run a business and create jobs, that is what we must be interested in. And that speaks to the persona and the character of President Mahama. And for the press conference to be held at the presidency tells you the level of weight, the level of support that it will receive from the presidency. If it was just the normal trade and industry projects or programs, I'm sure the Minister for Trade and Industry would have been the one addressing the press at the ministry. But it tells you of the importance that is attached to this forum, especially when he says that subsequently they will be visiting our neighboring countries and they will go along with beneficiaries of the project to tell their own story. It's a good initiative, and so don't believe that we are social.
So we don't do business.
We believe in the social democracy, and that we don't support businesses. That is far from truth.
Right.
When you extend electricity, it is going to
his surprise. For me, I think in the beginning you even hear the statement from Bawumia and that of our minority in parliament. They say we'll be in opposition and we'll give constructive criticism. You do not just criticize it for criticizing's sake. So for me, this is a welcome news. As somebody who is also interested in business, if you look at the famous statement by Adam Smith, he said it is not the benevolence of the butcher, it's why we put food in our tables, but in search of their self-interest. And I think largely this is what is lacking in Ghana, and especially the nature of our education. My university, when you speak to the majority of the students, they just think the ultimate goal of studying law just to go into practice. And if you go to the other areas, they are all thinking about being absorbed by government institutions. I mean, and everywhere in the world, if you see any country that is doing well, it is usually the private sector. But our private sector is so bloated And sometimes we can even blame it with the politician because we keep promising absorbing more and more people. Look at the IGP going to Bawku, promising more jobs in the form of police service. So this is actually a very welcome news. You shouldn't be surprised because our party ideology, unlike the other side that are very confused about their ideology, because they pride themselves, as the writer said,
you want to support the conversation.
And yeah, when you are providing,
you want to support the conversation.
I'm just talking. No, but it's true that you are very confused about your
ideology. Talk about co-business forum.
Well, because they pride themselves as social
Let him talk about the co-business forum.
No, I want him to let me explain.
They pride themselves as social democrats, and yet when one side is providing free education, they have problem with it.
Oh, they do.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
When you don't understand,
international
social intervention, that's what you do.
And yeah, the International Covenant for Social and Economic Rights says that we must progressively provide these things to our people because that ensures their positive freedom. So yes, providing things of this nature will give them the positive freedom people can live. And we have to. So not just doing this, but go to the universities, the secondary school, to cultivate this culture. Perhaps entrepreneurship should be part of the models that every person will study in the university. To know that the fact that you are trained in one field, that not necessarily means you have to practice in that field. I keep telling my students, that's why I'm a lecturer in law. I also practice. I have a farm in the north that I'm very, very dedicated to. My farm is devoted to producing goat and sheep. You see that students doesn't just think you have to work even in the field you are trained.
How long have you been? Oh, how long have you been rearing these?
At least 6 years now.
6 years.
I've got Sahelian goat and even the Ghanaian dwarf goat.
How many of them? How many do you have?
I had about almost 400, but I recorded some deaths last year.
Okay.
So it's still a startup, and then for the past 6 months at least, I've not recorded any deaths, which is a good news for me. But
then you should be at the Kwahu Business Forum. So you support the financial institutions.
We'll get to that. So the emphasis is that we welcome it. It's a laudable idea. And when you go to other countries, we talk about finance, which is actually a sort of a problem because the cost of borrowing in Ghana is so exorbitant. So there is a program in Britain called the Dragon's Den. I don't know whether some of you have seen it.
Yes.
That if you're a young guy with very bright idea, you come and pitch for finance and support as well. So instead of just you alone, you can get partnership and get experience. Maybe
the one I watched was actually with a Ghanaian cook.
Okay, I mean,
in Britain.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very
emotional.
Yes.
So maybe Ghanaian businessmen would need to partner with the government, so that when a young bright guy have bright ideas, you can partner with them. By
I think Magdan actually started
something similar.
Where he supports young business with about $100,000 or so.
So what I would point is that it's a laudable idea, and we need to support government for that. But I have a small caution. He might say it's politics, but it's not politics. At the beginning of this administration, when they make appointments, some of the appointees have said something that makes me very uncomfortable. That if he has a choice to make between and to employ people, he would dedicate himself for mostly NDC people, which is not the best way to go. So initiative of this nature must be open for every Ghanaian. Because we want to expand the private sector. It doesn't matter if it's even the devil version of MPP or the devil version of what? CPP. If they can help expand the economy for government to get more taxes, why not? So open it to every Ghanaian. Because if you do not, and it is just a program for NDC people, then rightly we are going to criticize you. Because at the end of the day, it's the Ghanaian taxpayer money that will be using it. So I don't have problem with this nature. I'll praise the government for that initiative. And I pray, as he said, it should go beyond Kwahu and expand to the rest of the country so that the young people can take advantage of it. And perhaps that can help their 24-hour economy. Because so far what we've seen is just slogans. Because the other day I was chatting with one of the guys. He doesn't believe the 24 hours economy can go with the industrialization. He thinks maybe other area. Perhaps they need to fine-tune it, understand what a 24 hours economy is. I've always believed that government do not build 24 hours economy. You create the enabling environment for private sector to take advantage of it. You don't go, government will not go and order a hotel to open 24 hours. If there's business need, they would automatically open. So you need to create the enabling environment for people to take advantage of. But if you keep going around with slogan 24 hours economy, I saw the other day that all passports have been, all passport application has been cleared because we have implemented the 24 hours economy. I mean, this thing should have been operated 24 hours long ago. So passport office open 24 hours economy, does it promote it? No. Some of these government offices do not even need to open 24 hours. It's a private sector.
Okay.
And if you don't create the enabling conditions, they are not going to open 24 hours. Thank you.
Okay. I agree perfectly with lawyer about what he talked about the project. And trust me, take solace in the person of President Mahama, that he means well for this country. Yes, he's an NDC leader, but if you know him very well, you would understand that he has friends across the political divide. He's not somebody who would be so much interested in ingraining just one aspect of our population, and so it will be partisan. I'm also happy that you talked about the 24-hour economy, that it should have been in place long ago.
You mean to be non-partisan?
Yes, it will be non-partisan.
Okay, because you said it will be partisan.
Sorry. Yeah. I said so.
Yes,
it will be non-partisan.
Okay.
And you just talked about 24-hour economy should have been implemented long ago. And I agree with you that it should be private sector driven. And that is what we promised in our manifesto, that we will create the enabling environment for the private sector to thrive and take advantage to run the 24-hour economy, especially where you are coming from. That is what we can do to offer sustainable jobs to our people. We cannot keep on bringing people onto the government payroll. We must begin to reorientate our people from seeking government jobs when they leave school.
Okay.
We must let them understand that to make real money and real income, decent income, you need to create your own job. Look, I have, and like you said, doing business in Ghana can be costly. I have a 200-acre farmland in my constituency.
Okay.
For the first 2 years, I made huge losses.
Oh
yes, I made huge losses.
What do you grow?
I could not even maize and soybean.
Okay.
I couldn't even recover 30% of my investments.
Wow.
And so last year I had to take a break, partly because of the elections too, because I knew I wasn't going to have enough time to attend to it. But I intend to get back to it this year. And so all of us must begin to see this, government job or formal sector job, they can only sustain you and get you out of extreme poverty. But if you really want to make income, that's my belief, is to go and do business and do it well. And so we must begin to imbibe in our young ones. Now look, when we are in school, you should be thinking of how to finish school and create a job for yourself. And partnerships. The attitude in Ghana, everybody wants to hold onto his area, into himself.
Yeah.
They don't want to open up. You know, somebody has a business. Look, a friend of mine has a very interesting thing that he has developed.
Okay.
It tells you about beverages. There is some challenge of a sort.
Yeah.
I propose, let's do partnerships. We can do some funding together. He's not amenable to it. Of course, the original idea is from him. He has the original idea. But to the extent that you need a funding, you have to open up for partnerships.
Yeah.
You know, but we are not used to it. We don't do family businesses. Somebody runs a business and he dies, and the business also dies. The children and the grandchildren are unable to follow through. You are aware that in Europe, in London, in the US, there are family businesses that can run for generations. We don't have it here. So we must begin to talk to our young ones.
Okay.
Some of us, when we were leaving school, we were not thinking about establishing something of your own. We are just looking up to the state to provide you. I think it's the post-colonialism era that is still affecting us. In those days when people finished school, we were told that they were given bungalows, they were given cars, and given all that they needed. That is not the case today. Today, You have to finish school and go around looking for a job just to be able to put food on the table. So we must transit our minds. We must change from that attitude of looking up to the state to provide you with a job to creating jobs on our own. And so the NDC, yes, we are social democrats, we are business minded, and we are business friendly. And we talked about free senior high school. We never opposed it. We only ask you to implement it in a more responsible fashion, which we fail to do. And so that's why under President Mahama, we are coming to complete the e-blocks. We are doing away with the dual track system. I'm not sure you attended a dual track system. I don't know. President Akufo-Addo didn't attend the dual track system.
He schooled in England, actually.
Yes, I'm saying that he didn't attend double track. He didn't attend double track as this year.
He didn't.
So we think that we need to give quality education to our young ones. It's not just about education. It must be quality education. A semi-literate person could be more dangerous than an illiterate. And so we're not against free senior high school.
Okay.
In fact, we want to implement it.
There's another angle to the conversation I wanted to introduce, but I'm looking at the time. I'm talking about the sustainability of this business, especially look at the kind of politics that we do where we target opposition businesses and destroy them. But because of lack of time.
I want to talk about research. It means resetting our governance system, how we do business, our economy. It's not just about the economy, even how we treat ourselves. I keep on saying it. If we decide to do what the MPP, I've always said, look, the numbers that we got in the last election, trust me, I believe that neutral minds, including even some aggrieved MPP people, voted for us. And that must guide us. If we want to maintain that momentum, those numbers, if we want to stay in power for a very long time, probably some 20, 24 years, is laughing. And so if we want to maintain that political momentum, we must not be doing exactly what our colleagues were doing, to the extent that they were even selling government appointments. They were just interested in losing the state. Look, we can't go that path.
Okay.
We can't go on that path.
All right. Let me read this from your very good friend, Alhaji Halidu Haruna, the former PC, Public Kuma Central. Now he says that, good morning, Mr. Moro. The NDC is a social democratic party. What this means is that we practice the blend of capitalist and socialist policies. We don't practice extreme socialism. It's in order to believe in the private sector is the engine of growth.
Everybody has moved to the center.
Everybody has moved to the center, yes. Now, Chris from...
But we understand social democracy more. We understand social interventions more.
Right.
And that's why we're able to migrate Ghana from a mutual health insurance scheme to a national health insurance scheme.
Right.
The Metro Mass, we came with Ayalulu, Ayalulu where you could just use a card to swipe as designed in London. And so we understand social democracy.
How do you understand something better?
So Chris from Ashaliboche.
That's how when you do refine it.
Chris from Ashaliboche says, Moro, it breaks my heart.
Oh, we do.
Just a minute. It says, Moro, it breaks my heart to sadly hear the disappointed MPP folks like Ishaq Ibrahim speak as they have divinely secured the magic wand to turn around the economic woes. A few months ago, these same people were confused and totally stranded in managing the economy. Julius Deborah is on point, a great man with great ideas and a creative brain at work. Chris from Ashaliboche.
I think Chris just feel like, okay.
And this one here from Alhaji Hamza from PICFAM, he says, good morning. He's a regular contributor. Good morning, my brother. In fact, Honorable Aziz has actually made my day this morning. He has demonstrated that he's on top of issues. His submission this morning has been brilliant and on to the point. We are lucky to have such a brilliant communicator in the NDC. My brother Ishaq has been so partisan this morning. Tell him to think of the nation first before his party. Oh, he says he endorses the Kwahu Forum and that he'll be going there to seek for some help. So he's not in that partisan.
I've had two texts telling me they want to go to Jubilee House and see the chief of staff.
Oh, I see. And someone actually sent me a message that more and more financial institutions are showing interest. The list keeps going, keeps increasing, keeps going up.
I think your two contributed this morning have not been very fair at all.
They've not been fair to you, yes.
But sometimes you don't want to pay attention to
it. Well, yeah, of course. No, but Hamza needs to be taken seriously. He's a regular he's more or less part of the panels in this side.
Let me say a very good morning to you. Say the Kwahu. Very interesting text, but I'll read it. I'll read it.
Okay.
He's criticizing Ishak, so I'll read it.
Oh.
Ishak is a very good friend, so I'll read it. Anyway, so I guess that we may have to end it.
So
Today's one of those.
five, like I said, we have 23 universal banks.
Yes.
And the chief of staff is saying that each of the participating banks will be supporting at least 5 businesses.
Yeah, for the next 4 years.
5, at least minimum.
A bank supporting
but you
5
see-
businesses.
Even if you have 15 banks,
You see, the man
supporting
says
5.
at least 5 banks.
Yes.
What it means is that a bank could do 10, 15, 20.
Exactly.
But let's even use the minimum number he's given, the 5.
Yes.
That would be about 105 businesses.
Yeah.
Look at the rippling
Emma, we still
effect.
have a little bit time. Let me talk one aspect of this.
Okay.
One aspect of
In a
this
minute.
will be the credit rating system that we had tried to introduce.
Okay.
You see, generally, you can see the cost of borrowing is very high in Ghana because of lack of trust issues.
Yeah.
So usually the banks struggle to be able to appraise your capacity to pay back. And the fact that
credit
people can
worthiness.
people can easily move from one place to the other, and tracing people become very difficult.
Yeah.
Perhaps, I mean, if you take it, we will not charge you for taking ideas as contrary to what they do. If we can build a proper credit rating system, whereby individual credit worthiness can be checked properly, and they could be private. If you go see elsewhere how they do it, they're just private people who have been given special access to people data. And this address system that we brought can be used to trace people. And those countries like Britain, if you move address within 2 months, they will know. So that kind of area can help the bank reduce the cost of borrowing.
Okay.
Because there are other people unreliableness to put the burden on other people who will be borrowing.
All right.
So that area we can tackle it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fine.
So,
so it's not enough to.
We just talked about-
It's not enough to produce the products, but also
Yes.
help the citizenry to be able to afford it.
Yes,
The
credit is a
system
major
that you're
issue.
talking
You
about.
just talked about the interest rates,
Yes.
and you talked about the property addressing system.
Yeah.
If we are able to do a property addressing system well, we'll do the Ghana card well.
Yeah.
We're able to synchronize them, and that's why under President Mahama in his first tenure was insistent in naming our roads. Do you get it?
Yeah.
The addressing system that we have today, there are 2 versions of them. The one from the Ghana Post and the other one, I don't know where it is coming from.
The digital address
Yes,
system.
some of them are not reliable. And we paid money
I think it's
for that.
using GPS technology. It can
No.
point.
It's not using GPS. That's why we thought that they could have used Google. That would have come to us at no cost.
Yeah.
But we didn't. So I'm just saying that, look, let us try to adopt a blockchain technology. We should begin to link our databases.
Yeah.
So for instance, look, rent. If you go to rent at Adenta and you are there for 1 year, 2 years,
Yeah.
and you want to move to, let's say, Asylum Down,
Yeah.
there should be a way for us to know that you have moved from address A to address B. So the bank that you owe will know where to trace you.
Right.
If you have moved from company A to company B, there should be a way to tell that you are no more working with this employer.
Yeah.
You have moved here.
Yeah.
But because, look, non-performing loans, even after we close down some banks, under the guise of
Financial sector
okay.
Okay.
cleanup,
Okay.
non-performing loans is on the rise.
Yeah.
Of course, in the last 2 months, it is getting better.
Because the fundamental problems are still there. Yeah.
In 2024, the non-performing loans, and while the non-performing loans are high, your interest rates will be high.
Yeah.
So, so this aspect,
I'm sorry, we have to
the
go.
technical people can help us.
Yes.
So, for example, instead of utilities being on the name of the landlord, residents should keep the names of utilities in their names.
That's true.
So that when you are moved, then you are required to inform the utility bill that this person is now in that address, and they will provide their details. I mean, that's how it's done elsewhere.
Yes, but here the
addressing addressing system is poor.
It's very poor. There are people who are living in containers. The person can leave the next day and go and sleep in
No,
a
but we're not talking at the beginning. It's not everybody.
No, I understand that. But
and people who are interested
Yes.
in taking advantage of the credit rating system will make sure that their names are there.
Okay. That's
Do you
fine.
understand that?
Thank you very much, Ishak Ibrahim. Thank you so very much. It's always a pleasure having you here. Okay. So Ishak Ibrahim is a law lecturer at UPSA and also a member of the MPP's communications team, even though we don't use that often now. He's more a member of the MPP's legal directorate. Also, Mohammed Abdulaziz is a former MP from Mayang constituency and also GIFEC Deputy Administrator. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure. My name is Audu Moro. Thanks for watching another edition of Good Morning Ghana. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
$11 million.
Presidency because of the importance
Hi viewers, current affairs, history, English, sports and more. Introducing the Metro King Show.
Ghana took its name from the Ghana Empire, an ancient empire that inhabited nearly land centuries ago. What does the word Ghana mean?
Old Ghana.
That's wrong. Samuel, what's your answer?
Airland.
That's also wrong. In which region of Ghana is Huni Valley located?
Western.